God said to tell them to prepare their hearts. And if you are hearing this right now, it's because something inside you already knows that the version of your life you have been trying to hold onto is about to become irrelevant. Not slowly, not gently, but suddenly, like a door you've been pushing against for years finally swing open, except it's not the door you were pushing. It's a door you don't even know existed. And that's the part that's going to mess with your head the most. You have been so focused on one specific outcome, one particular way things were supposed to unfold, that you have trained your eyes to only look in one direction. You've been staring at that one door, that one timeline, that one version of how your life was supposed to go. And God is sitting there going, child, look to your left, look to your right, look behind you. Because what's coming is not coming from where you are watching. And that is exactly why this word is hitting you so hard right now. You have been praying for something that's the thing. You have been standing in faith, believing, waiting, doing all the right things. And somewhere along the way you convinced yourself that you had it figured out. The timeline, the process, the people involved, the moment when it would finally break open. And you've been praising yourself. You've been preparing your heart to this one specific thing to happen, this one specific door to open. And I can feel in my spirit that you are exhausted. Not because you have lost faith, no, but because faith is hard when you are looking in the wrong direction. You have been living in this weird tension where you know God is moving. You can sense it. You can feel it in your bones. But nothing is landing, nothing is clicking. And the silence has been deafening, really deafening. I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little. That quiet you've been experiencing, that stillness, that feeling of being stuck, while everyone around you seems to be moving forward. That wasn't punishment, that wasn't God being distant or distracted. It was preparation, but not preparation for what you thought. You have been preparing for years for one thing, and only one. And God is about to pivot you into something else entirely. That's the whole point of this word. That's why you felt drawn to click on this. That's why something in your chest tightened when you saw those words. God said, tell them to prepare their hearts. And that word, prepare, it's not a passive thing, it's active, it's intentional. It's like when you know a storm is coming, you don't just sit there and hope it passes. You board up the windows, you gather what you need, you get your mind right. And here's where it gets complicated. God isn't asking you to prepare for a storm. He's asking you to prepare for a shift, a pivot, an unexpected turn that you couldn't have scripted it if you tried. And that's the part that triggers our control issues, isn't it? Because you have been building this beautiful plan, this carefully constructed vision, and God is about to reroute the whole thing and say, but I have something better. I have something you cannot even imagine yet. And I know it doesn't look like what you asked for, but it's exactly what you need. What you need. I want you to think about the last time something completely unexpected happened in your life, and it turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. Maybe it was a job you lost that forced you into a career you love. Maybe it was a relationship that ended, that cleared the way for healthier one. Maybe it was a plan that fell apart, that redirected you towards something more aligned with who you actually are. You have evidence, whether you acknowledge it or not, that God has worked through the unexpected before. And He is about to do it again. But this time, on a scale that's going to rearrange your entire understanding of how He moves in your life. I keep hearing this phrase in my spirit. The sudden pivot will not look like what you have been expecting. And that's not meant to be scary. That's meant to be liberating. You have been exhausted. You have been yourself trying to force something to happen that was never going to happen the way you thought it would. You have been praying, strategizing, trying to make connections, trying to open doors, trying to convince people, trying to prove yourself. And God is watching you with so much compassion, saying, my child, stop. I have already prepared the way. I have already lined up the people. I have already orchestrated the timing. But you have been so focused on your plan that you cannot see mine unfolding right in front of you. There is this interesting thing about pivots. They don't usually announce themselves. They don't send a formal invitation. They show up disguised as disappointment, as a closed door, as a conversation that didn't go the way you hoped, as a test you were not expecting, as a phone call that changes everything. And in the moment, it feels like setback. It feels like God is silent and absent, or maybe even unfair. But hindsight has a way of revealing that the pivot has actually the rescue. It was the answer. It was the thing you needed to all along, dressed in a different set of clothes. You've experienced this before. You will experience it again. That's the rhythm of life with God. He shows up when and how we least expect. And He always seems to use the unlikest tools to build the most beautiful things. I sense that some of you have been dealing with the nagging feeling that something is off. Not wrong exactly, but off. Like the pieces of your life are not quite fitting together the way they should. And you have been trying to force them. You've been trying to make them fit, ignoring the subtle nudges, the quiet whispers, the strange peace that comes when you finally let go. And now this word is landing in your spirit because it's the confirmation you didn't even know you needed. that the offness you're feeling is not a sign that you have missed your moment. It's a sign that the shift is already happening beneath the surface. Like tectonic plates moving deep underground. You cannot see it yet, but the ground is already shifting. The sudden pivot God is bringing is not going to feel like an invitation to something comfortable. It's going to feel like a challenge. It's going to stretch you. It's going to require you to let go of old identities, old relationships, old ways of thinking. And that part, the letting go, that's where the preparation actually lives. God said, tell them to prepare their hearts. And the preparation is not for the new thing, it's for the leaving of the old thing. Because you cannot walk into what God has for you if you are still clinging to what He is already told you. He has already told you to release. You feel that? Yeah, you feel how that hit a little deeper. That's because it's true, and you know it. You've been dragging that weight for too long. Resentment, fear, disappointment, the voice of people who told you it wouldn't happen. You are not enough. The narrative you've built around your own failures. The way you replay conversations and outcomes in your head like a broken record. And God is saying, enough. Enough. I need you free. I need you ready to move. When I say move, not weighed down by a past that has no hold on you anymore. The pivot is coming because you cannot stay where you are. And staying would be worse than any discomfort the pivot might bring. I want you to imagine a chessboard for a moment. You are one of the pieces and you have been stationary for a long time. You've been watching other pieces move. You've seen the game unfold and you have been waiting for your turn. And here's the thing, the game has been moving the whole time. The board has been shifting, the strategy has been evolving. And now your piece is about to move. But the move God is making with you is not the move you expected. It's not a straight line. It's a diagonal. It's a leap. It's something that only makes sense to the one who can see the whole board. And that's what faith is. Trusting the player even when you cannot see the whole board. You know, you are not supposed to see the full picture yet. You are just supposed to move when you are told to move. And I can feel that for some of you this is really hard to receive because you are planners. You are builders. You like to know the route before you take the trip. You like to have 5 backup plans just in case the first one doesn't work. And God is lovingly, gently but firmly saying, I am not your plan. I am your backup plan. I am the route. And you don't need to have anything figured out because I do. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story up front. I'm going to give you just enough light for the next step. And you will step into it, and then another light will appear. And then another. And before you know it, you will look back and see that every step was guided. Every even the ones that felt like wandering. The sudden pivot is not a punishment. I want to make that really clear. It's not God pulling the rug out from under you and laughing at your expense. It's the rescue. It's the redirection. It's the answer to prayers you haven't even prayed yet. You thought you knew. You knew what you needed, but God knows what you actually need. And sometimes what we actually need doesn't look anything like we have been asking for. So the pivot feels like a denial when it actually an upgrade. And that shift in perception, that is what it means to prepare your heart, to hold your plans loosely, to trust the process even when you cannot see the outcome. To say, God, even if this isn't what I wanted, I believe it's what I need. I want to speak to a specific situation some of you are in right now. There is this area of your life where you have been waiting for a breakthrough. It could be finances, it could be a relationship, it could be a creative project or a business, a call on your life that feels like it's been on hold forever. And you have been so faithful, you've been so patient, you've done everything you were supposed to do. And you are tired, you are really tired, and you are starting to wonder if it's ever going to happen. That's the place where the enemy loves to plant seeds of doubt. In the waiting, when it's quiet, when you're alone with your thoughts, that's when the lies gets loud. You're too old, you're too young, you're not talented enough, you missed your chance. God is angry with you, you messed up too badly this time. And God is saying, none of this is true. None of it. The pivot is coming because the breakthrough is coming. But it's going to look different than you imagined. It's going to show up in a form you didn't anticipate. And if you are so attached to your mental image of how it should came, you might miss it entirely. You might be so busy watching the door that you don't see the other one swing open. And that's the real danger of this season. Not that the pivot will not come, but that you will not recognize it when it does. Because it will not look like what you thought it would. It will not come through the person you expected. It will not happen in the timing you planned. It will be unexpected. And that's exactly why you need to be prepared your heart. The pivot is going to feel sudden. It's going to feel abrupt. But the truth is, it's been in motion for a long time. God has been working behind the scenes, connecting dots, aligning people, preparing provision, opening doors in places you haven't even considered. And when that pivot happens, it's going to feel like everything shifts at once. But it didn't happen at once. It happened over time. It happened in the quiet seasons. It happened when you were in the waiting room feeling like nothing was changing. It happened while you were sleeping and seeing your dreams. It happened in the conversation you had no idea were strategic. And now the manifestation is here. There is something I feel like I need to say, and it's going to hit some of you deeply. You have been groomed for this moment. You have been prepared for this pivot by every closed door, every disappointment, every moment of confusion. And you didn't even know it. You thought those were setbacks. You thought those were signals or signs that you were failing. But God was working. He was building. He was building something in you that could only be built through the fire. He was stripping away everything that wasn't meant for you, meant to go with you into the next season. And now you are ready. You are ready in ways you don't even understand yet. And the pivot is about to be revealed, to reveal what He has been working on all along. I want you to take a breath right now, just one. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, because I can feel the tension in this room. I can feel the anxiety in your spirit. You have been holding on so tightly. You've been white-knuckling your faith, white-knuckling your plan, white-knuckling your expectations. And God is saying, let go, just let it go. The pivot is coming and it's going to catch you off guard. But that's not the bad thing. It's going to catch you while you are being held by the one who already has your future in His hands. You are not falling or failing. You are being caught. And that's the difference. You might be in a place right now where you feel like you have been forgotten. You have been asking God the direction, and all you have been getting is silence. And the silence feels heavy. It feels like rejection. It feels like you are walking through a fog with no way out. But God says the silence is not inactivity. The silence is preparation. He is positioning you. He is aligning the pieces. And the pivot is coming not because He's been absent, but because He's been working. And when the pivot comes, it's going to feel like an explosion of clarity. Everything you've been praying for is going to start making sense. The fog is coming to lift. And you are going to see that He was with you the whole time, even when you couldn't feel Him. I keep sensing that this pivot is connected to something you've been praying about for a long time. And I don't know what it is, but you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You have been carrying this burden for months, maybe years. I think years. You've been believing God for it, but the manifestation hasn't come. And you are wondering if He heard you. You are wondering if you are asking for the wrong thing. And God is saying, I heard you. I heard every word. And I'm about to respond. But the response is going to be bigger than you asked for. It's going to be higher. It's going to be better. It's going to be to change everything. Not just that one thing, but everything connected to it. So prepare your heart, your beautiful heart, for more than you asked for. Prepare your heart for the weight of answered prayer. Because when God answers, He doesn't just send what you asked for. He sends what you needed. And sometimes that looks like a pivot. I think about the story of Abraham sometimes, how he was promised a child, and when it didn't happen the way he expected, he tried to make it happen on his own. And we all know how that turned out. But God was patient. God was working on a timeline that Abraham couldn't see. And when the child finally came, it was a pivot. It wasn't the child Abraham had tried to create. It was the child God had promised. And it came at a time that didn't make sense to human logic. But it was the right time. It was the appointed time. And the same is true for you right now. You are in the waiting. You are in the preparing. And God is about to bring forth what He promised. But it might not look like what you expect. It might come through a path you never considered. And that's okay. That's the pivot. I don't want you to be afraid of the pivot. I want you to lean into it. I want you to start practicing, really practicing the posture of surrender now, before the shift happens, so that when it comes, you don't resist it. You don't push back against it. You don't try to wrestle control back into your own hands. Because that's the thing about a pivot. You can either fight it and exhaust yourself, or you can go with it and let God carry you. And I know which one feels more peaceful, even if it doesn't feel more logical. The peace is your sign. The peace is your compass. When you feel that strange calm in the middle of chaos, that's Him saying, you're exactly where you need to be. The sudden pivot is coming. And it's going to rewrite your destiny. Not because your destiny was wrong before, but because it was incomplete. God has been adding chapters to your story that you couldn't see from where you were standing. And now the page is about to turn. And it's going to feel like a curveball. But it's actually a gift. It's an invitation to trust Him in a way you've never had to before. It's an invitation to watch Him to do something so wild and so unexpected that you cannot take credit for it. You cannot manipulate it. You cannot manufacture it. All you can do is just receive it. And that's the place God wants you. So prepare your heart. Prepare it not for the worst, but for the best. Prepare it for surprise. Prepare it for joy. Prepare it for a future that is better than anything you could have built on your own. But the pivot is already in motion. The shift is already happening. And if you can just let go of that timeline you've been gripping so tightly, you are going to see that pivot has been bringing you home the whole time. Not a place you've been before, but to a place you have only ever dreamed of. And that dream is about to become your reality.